I'd like to open the special meeting at 2:40 p.m. Thank you for your attendance. Okay. Just in regards to conflicts, there was already declared conflicts that have been done for C2, and they were dealt with at the last ordinary meeting. So therefore does not have to be done again as far as I understand. Do we have any other conflicts, councillors? Okay, do we have anyone to move into closed? Councillor McMullen.
Mr Mayor, I'll move in accordance with the provisions of section 254J3 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, a local government may resolve to close a meeting to the public to discuss confidential items that its councillors or members consider it necessary to close the meeting. In accordance with section 254J5 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, the following tables provided. The matters to be discussed, an overview of what to be discussed while the meeting is closed, industrial matters affecting employees, the local government's budget.
And we might just, can you read from the index, Councillor McMullen, the three items, please?
C1, position descriptions, local and regional directors, presentation of quarterly report to council, priorities for chief executive officer, and carbon farming study.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor Ladbrook, any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. I would like to move on C1. If we can just move it down a little bit, please. Position descriptions, local and regional directors. That one, position description 0003 be renamed Deputy Chief Executive Officer. 2, the Directorate be renamed from Economic Development and Lifestyle to Regional Development. 3, the Deputy Chief Executive Officer be appointed to perform the role of Acting Chief Executive Officer in accordance with Section 195 of the Local Government Act 2009, and that this be included in the position description and associated contract documentation. 4, a dotted line be included on the structure from the Chief Executive Officer to the Deputy Chief Executive Officer and between the Deputy Chief Executive Officer and the local area directors for communication across local areas and relief as required by the Deputy Chief Executive Officer in the absence of the local area directors or others if required. 5, the Deputy Chief Executive Officer lead the cross-communication team for local areas and this be added to the position description. 6, adopt the position descriptions for 3 regional directors and 5 local areas as presented by the Mayor. Attachment 3, 4, 5 and 6, subject to correction of typographical errors and removal of strategic example for dog catchers.
Are they 3 regional directors now or 2 regional directors and deputy CEO?
Oh, another good point.
Example of dog catchers.
Sorry, Mr Mayor.
Sorry, can I just Mr Mayor, just on that, because of the other bit we put up the front there, that number 5 there, was it 5? The bit about adoption of the PDs there, we had 3 regional directors. It's deputy CEO and 2 regional directors and the 5 again. Just number 6.6 there.
Right.
But, yep.
Yep, happy with that. We right with that?
Yeah.
6, I'll go do 6 again.
Would you mind doing 5 again too, Mr Mayor? Because
Righto.
I've just noticed for consistency, we call them cross-council teams, CCTs.
5, the Deputy Chief Executive Officer lead the cross-council team communication team for local areas.
Local area directors.
For local area. But I think it wasn't that actually local area groups you use, for instance, the plumbers, so the
No,
directors
that-
wouldn't be there for that meeting.
No. This is when it's basically the operational leadership team where the directors get together regularly and talk amongst themselves.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. 5, the Deputy Chief Executive Officer lead the cross-council team communications team for local area directors, and this be added to the position description. And in there, I'll read again, the Deputy Chief Executive Officer lead the cross-council team, brackets communication team, for local area directors, operational leadership team, and this be added to the position descriptions. 6, adopt the position descriptions for the Deputy Chief Executive Officer, 2 regional directors, and 5 local area directors. As presented by the Mayor, attachment 3, 4, 5 and 6, subject to minor amendments, we'll just put that in there. Subject to minor, just next to subject 2. Minor amendments.
Correction of minor.
Oh, I was just going to put minor amendments and correction of typographical errors, because minor amendments will be, could be how the words are just said better. Subject to minor amendments and correction of typographical errors and removal of the strategic example of 4 dog catchers. And then 7, for any other changes agreed by the Mayor be circulated to councillors informally prior to publishing. Do we have a seconder for that motion?
Still going.
Oh, more. Okay. Number 8, the required skills and experience, including proven experience in a director position or higher, brackets 2nd level executive. 9, a check of the teams within directorate of each directorate be undertaken and updated where applicable. 10, a 3rd recruitment agency be invited to quote from the local by panel, noting that 2 quotes have been received. 11, 3 recruitment agencies be invited to speak to council for 5 to 10 minutes each at a special meeting tomorrow, 3 p.m, for both locums and permanent contract appointments. Okay, do we have a seconder?
Can I just wait, pause for one moment? So, just number 5, Rob. Just check.
What was number 1? I just
Just
want to go back to 1.
Yeah, can we have a look at 1 again, please?
03.
Position number. You said position
No, that was just
description.
it was just a typo.
No, you said position description.
Did I?
3.
Okay,
Oh,
number
number
1,
one.
position number 0003 be renamed Deputy Chief Executive Officer. Okay, do we have,
And, sorry, just clarify, at the number 5 is Deputy CEO lead the cross-council team, in brackets communication for local area directors, the operational leadership team, and this be added to the position description.
That was what the mayor did read out.
There's bits and pieces that were
You took your team out after you
edits post.
right, and we have a seconder from councillor Ladbrook. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak?
I'm just sending
Mayor, would you consider, Mayor, would you consider dealing with these individually?
I wouldn't, but I would consider splitting them in half or something if you wanted to.
It's not, that's not easy to do. So are you saying you won't deal with them individually?
No.
Well, I'd like to move a procedural motion that each of these items are voted on individually.
Okay, we don't need a seconder for procedural. We'll go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
All those against? 3-6, if I can call for a division.
Lost.
Okay. Righto, so do we have anyone want to speak against the motion?
Yes, I'm against.
Sorry, the mayor offered to split it in two, but not to deal with it individually. Is there any appetite to split it in a couple? If it was a couple of motions, councillor O'Neill. The mayor said not 11, but is there some middle ground there?
Sorry, who are you asking?
I'm just asking the floor.
Oh,
Because the motion that was just moved was that each of the 11 be moved individually, and the vote was no, but the mayor previously foreshadowed that he was open to doing it maybe in a couple of groups. Does that still stand? Like broke it in half. Is there anything that you particularly feel strongly about that you'd like to pull out for the chair to consider?
Yeah, well, can we do 1 to 6? And then 7 to 11.
Yeah, I'm happy to deal with it in that fashion. Okay,
You
so,
just show me 1 to 6 again, Julia. Yeah.
righto, we're dealing with 1 to 6. Now, would the seconder be happy with that? I'm happy with that. Any opposition? Does
Yes, I oppose.
Please go ahead. Would you like to speak? I'll speak to the motion. Certainly believe this is the way to move ahead, and we've got to get moving on this as we're behind in schedule, and it's something we need to do. Okay, would you like to speak, councillor O'Neill?
Thanks very much. My opposition is not about the substantive issue. We've had countless debates around this. My opposition is on the basis that I believe that this goes above and beyond the responsibility of my role as a councillor. I've reviewed the advice that we've received, and I just simply am not comfortable that there are elements, particularly now in this motion being put, that includes 1 to 6. That I think we're delving into areas that us as councillors haven't got responsibility for, and therefore I just cannot support the resolution as it stands.
Would it be 1 to 5, councillor O'Neill?
We've already voted
Oh,
on
you
this.
moved call 1 to 6. So. Yeah, we're dealing with it like this. Does anyone wish to speak for the motion or against?
I'll speak for. Yeah, I'm just happy to move forward with this, and I think this is very relevant, and we should just continue.
Would someone like to speak against the motion? Councillor Hancock.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I am not against all the motions. I actually would have supported 1 to 5, but I cannot simply support the rest of the motions due to, I too believe that the legislation, it is against us as councillors setting position descriptions. We're meant to be setting strategic levels. That's our role. We are not to be operational, and this is actually setting position descriptions. so I can't support that. I actually think it is underhanded to try and embed policy change within position descriptions, which is what's happening in this document. And I'm also feel that the micro level of operational duties that has been included in this position description is actually embarrassing and laughable to any professional that is paid the level that these directors will be paid. I'm also very disappointed that what is being asked in the position description is not what was not what the staff and the community have been led to believe would happen. The process has not been open and transparent, and on all these bases, I will be voting against this.
Does anyone else wish to speak for the motion? Does anyone else wish to speak against the motion? Councillor Taylor.
I'm sorry, but I'm also with Councillor O'Neill and Councillor Hancock. I'm quite happy with 1 to 5 probably on that motion. But I too believe we've had advice to say that we're overstepping I feel we're overstepping our mark. So I too won't be supporting this motion.
Okay, does anyone wish to speak for the motion? Or against? I'll sum up. As councillors, we do set the position in the org structure, and this is for senior management, which we have nothing to do with recruiting as far as that's the CEO's role. All we're doing is explaining what the position description is by putting some examples in there. And that's simply, they're clearly marked as examples. And I do believe if someone is looking for a position, it's important to know what the expectations is strategically. And I certainly won't be going anywhere near anything to do with operational. Does anyone else wish to speak at all? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? All those against?
Against.
6-3 if I can call for a division. Okay, now we're dealing with 7 to 11. Well, I'll move that. And I've already said the words for that, so everyone's heard that. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Burkett. Do we have any opposition?
Against.
Does anyone wish to speak to it? There again, I believe that we've got clear responsibilities that we can do certain things and should never be doing other things. So taking on that advice, I believe that this is a fair and reasonable motion that has been read out. Does anyone wish to speak against the motion?
Yes, I'll speak against.
Please go ahead.
I'm against this second motion because it makes reference to the position descriptions of the second tier of our organisation. I know that we've got the responsibilities to set the organisational structure. Nowhere have I seen any evidence to suggest that it is our responsibility to draft the position descriptions of the second level, being the directors of our organisation. I therefore am not willing to put myself in a position where we are breaching the Local Government Act, and I cannot support the resolution as it stands. Again, the reason that I asked for this to be split was that there were elements in 7 to 11 that I could have supported, but obviously, as has been minuted, that resolution was not passed and was denied the opportunity to do that. So therefore, I will be voting against this second resolution of 7 to 11.
Does anyone else wish to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Hancock.
Yeah, I can't support this motion because of point 8, where I don't actually believe that that should be the level that we are looking at for the directors. And also, once again, on the basis that the fact is that I don't believe we should be doing position descriptions, we should be policy setting, and we're doing position descriptions and we haven't even looked at the policy to be able to do this. And on that basis, I cannot support this motion.
Does anyone else wish to speak for or against the motion? Then we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? All those against?
Against.
6-3 if I can call for a division. Okay, we've got some other things.
Can I move that we lay agenda items C2 and C3 on the table until a future meeting of council, which will be tomorrow.
Okay. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. Okay, if it's no further business, I'll close the meeting at 5:24 and thank you for your attendance.
Thank you.